psychiatrists specifically, they're just kind of working as sales agents for the pharmaceutical companies.
There's nothing like another doctor touting the benefits of your drug to drive market share.
They're an extended part of the marketing arm of these companies.
Medications play a primary role.
We give drugs.
Medication is a must.
There's a lot of new medications.
There are medications available for treating GAD.
Medications to use for PTSD.
Antipsychotic medications.
Atypical antipsychotics.
Benzodiazepines.
Stimulants.
Antidepressant medications.
MAOIs. Amphetamines.
Anticonvulsant medications.
Once the medications have been balanced out,
then we move on to a combination of 3 medicines. There's no absolute limit that is set for the number of medications.
There are so many choices.
Apparently, we're willing to try almost anything.
As drogas psiquiátricas não podem ser vendidas sem uma prescrição, pelo que as companhias farmacêuticas contratam psiquiatras para promoverem as drogas psiquiátricas aos seus colegas que as prescrevem. O rastro do dinheiro começa nas escolas médicas mais prestigiadas no mundo, nos gabinetes de psiquiatras altamente influentes baseados na universidade ou académicos. Com o seu selo de aprovação, as companhias farmacêuticas faturam milhares de milhões em drogas psiquiátricas.
There are a lot of academic psychiatrists especially who have ties to 10 or 15 or 20 different pharmaceutical companies, and so they're making a very large amount of money.
Whether they're professors or whether they work at big, medical institutions, those drug companies will make sure that they've got them on the payroll somehow.
They'll have this person feed this information to their other peers, but it's all being motivated through monies being funded by pharmaceutical companies.
About 40% of the early stage marketing dollars for pharmaceutical companies go straight to these thought leaders, psychiatrists.
Estes acordos financeiros com os pretensos importantes líderes de opinião são muito lucrativos. Um dos melhores psiquiatras académicos pode lucrar pessoalmente mais de $500 mil por ano de companhias farmacêuticas.
These people are still considered the stars of their medical centers because they bring in all this great money from the pharmaceutical companies, and that helps keep the coffers of the medical center full.
Universities receive a lot of money from the pharmaceutical industry. Drug companies are building buildings right next to the medical school. They're funding research right and left.
The University of Michigan Depression Center received, I think it was $750,000 from Eli Lilly, and all they do down there is crank out this biological view of psychiatry and mental illness and depression.
Com os psiquiatras académicos a receberem milhões em dinheiro de drogas para as suas universidades, não é surpresa alguma que o currículo da escola se baseie nas drogas psicotrópicas.
Training programs in psychiatry, the majority of them now are drugs first. You're really a psychopharmacologist in a way when you come out of a psych residency training program.
Even when I went to medical school, psychiatrists did talk to patients. Now all they do is write a prescription and send them away.
A psychiatrist is trained for one purpose, to administer psychiatric drugs.
Os psiquiatras académicos não só disciplinam os futuros médicos a prescrevê-las, eles também promovem estas drogas aos seus colegas. Primeiro, ao criar estudos de experiências clínicas passados como pesquisa imparcial, que promove tanto uma desordem psiquiátrica inventada como a droga para a manejar. Estes estudos são postos em jornais profissionais para serem lidos pelos seus colegas e citados nos meios de comunicação. Mas o que os leitores não sabem é que cerca de 50% das vezes esses psiquiatras nunca participaram nos estudos.
One of the most unethical practices we're aware of is ghostwriting of journal articles, where somebody at the pharmaceutical company will write the paper and the academic physician will put his name on it and get it published in a major journal when he maybe changed 3 or 4 words in the whole article, and the article was basically written as a marketing tool by the drug company, and yet this academic puts his name on it as if he's the author.
He has had no part in the study, and also he probably hasn't even read the study results, but he is prepared to receive $10,000, $20,000 to put his name at the front of the research, which gives it added authority.
Escrever em nome de outra pessoa é tão comum que mesmo o psiquiatra que dirige o Departamento de Avaliação das Drogas Psiquiátricas na FDA anexou o seu nome aos que escrevem artigos em nome de outras pessoas.
The average physician picks that up and reads it. He believes it. And it's not a mystery that he would believe it. It seems reasonable that it's in black and white, it's in a good journal, it's in the New England Journal of Medicine, it must be true.
Estes jornais são frequentemente enviados gratuitamente a psiquiatras e médicos sob o disfarce de pesquisa médica legítima. E por que é que são gratuitos? Porque os anúncios das drogas farmacêuticas reúnem grandes rendimentos para os seus publicadores.
So if you go through a medical journal, you'll see page after page of advertising for bipolar disorder and treatment of using medications, or advertisings for depression and the treatment of using medications, schizophrenia. So it's really everywhere.
I remember just a couple of years ago, the first time I opened the journal from the American Psychological Association called the APA Monitor, and there was a multi-page ad, high gloss, very expensive, for Concerta, which is time-release Ritalin. I resigned from the American Psychological Association. I wasn't going to be part of this whatsoever.
It's very hard when your major source of income is advertising and advertising placement to write an article that's negative about a particular drug and expect that company to continue to buy ads in your medical journal. So that's a major issue.
Mas os importantes líderes de opinião psiquiátricos não estão satisfeitos com encher jornais com artigos escritos por outra pessoa. Eles também espalham a doutrina de drogas psicotrópicas nas conferências em Educação Médica Contínua, ou CME.
Physicians and nurse practitioners and physicians assistants are mandated to take a certain amount of continuing education credits every year. Well, 70% of all continuing medical education is now funded by the pharmaceutical industry.
That seminar is going to be taught by a professional who is employed by the pharmaceutical company. The very nature of where someone is giving you your support means you are biased to that person's side.
Many physicians and many psychiatrists who attend medical conferences don't know that when they go to that conference meeting that's about antidepressants, antipsychotics, and it's generally an academic psychiatrist who's speaking, they don't realize that person's probably making about $10,000 for that 1-hour speech.
Mas não precisa de ser um psiquiatra académico para obter uma fatia do bolo. Os psiquiatras que prescrevem muitas drogas psicotrópicas são recompensados generosamente pelos representantes de vendas farmacêuticas por apoiarem o negócio local.
Psychiatrists, especially high prescribers, are targeted and gifted extensively by the industry. Now that gifting is where you need to get specific.
That was not unusual during our marketing conversations to say, well, what's our top drug writer? You know, who's the doctor that's prescribing the most of this drug? Well, you know, let's send them to the Kentucky Derby.
We offered trips on some occasions to come out and hear a 2-hour talk, but it happened to be on a nice island in Hawaii.
There were a lot of things that we did day in and day out to try to get the doctors to write our drugs, or in my case, to write for the psychiatric drugs. We did a lot of lunches and dinners, and we brought in speakers, and those speakers were obviously paid by us, and we would wave, renowned studies at them from renowned journals. But of course, we would never say that these studies were paid for by our company, and that it was written by a ghostwriter who was paid by our company, or that our company tends to do a ton of advertising within that particular medical journal. We would never say that.
Com mais de 300 milhões de prescrições de drogas psiquiátricas escritas anualmente, os psiquiatras que mais prescrevem são ricamente recompensados por abrirem novos mercados. Eles recebem até 25% mais dinheiro das companhias farmacêuticas do que qualquer outra especialidade médica, uma média num estado de mais de $45 mil pelo melhor psiquiatra por ano.
Psychiatrists get more kickback from the pharmaceutical companies than any other branch of medicine.
The profession of psychiatry couldn't keep its journals afloat, couldn't keep its conferences afloat, couldn't keep its organizations afloat without money from drug companies. The drug companies really have psychiatry in their pocket.
This is a profession whose diagnoses have been heavily influenced by people who are heavily influenced by the pharmaceutical industry, and whose treatments are almost exclusively these days pharmaceuticals. We should be able to count on them. I do not believe that we can.
Devido à promoção incessante pelos psiquiatras, a prescrição de drogas psicotrópicas espalhou-se não só pela psiquiatria, mas por toda a profissão médica. Mas esta campanha promocional tem uma segunda vertente que forra os bolsos dos psiquiatras mais do que qualquer outra. E esta visa-o diretamente a si.